Hello, I'm Micks Mowers, the Merman, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be working on this Atco Balmoral 14SK, which has got a bit of a running issue. The gentleman says he's had it for 18 months with no problems, but just recently he's been having starting issues with the machine. Will only run on choke. As soon as you take it off a choke, the machine cuts out. There's no difference in the throttle from idle to fast. That's the same revs, it's not doing anything different there, which is standard procedure for one of these Kawasaki engines. They tend to muck about a lot more when there's a carburetor issue. Also, he tried to adjust the height control on the mower. Instead of using the height control button at the back here, he's actually adjusted the two screws on the cylinder and put the bed knife and cylinder too close together and has damaged the cylinder slightly. So I've just spent the last 30-40 minutes back lapping this cylinder. It's now nice and sharp. It now cuts paper as it should do, right across the length of the cylinder. So that can go back in and that'll be good. So in this video, I'm going to be taking the carburetor apart and the fuel tap, get it all nice and clean so it all looks good and runs good, and then hopefully Jim will have his lawnmower back so he can go and cut his grass and get those lovely lines these Atco Balmorals are known for. These are very, very similar to the Suffolk Punch style lawnmowers and the Allett Kensingtons that have the Kawasaki engine. So this will cover a range of 3 to 4 different types of mowers for this same procedure you're going to see in this video. So if that sounds like the video for you, then sit back and relax, grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let me get down and dirty. I'll get this carburetor off, get the fuel system all cleaned and looking nice, and that way we get the lawnmower onto the lawn and get it run up, tested, and give it back to the gentleman before the weekend. If this is your first time watching Micks Mowers, the Merman, hit your subscribe button, whack the old bell, set notifications to all. That way you'll be notified next time I upload another video. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty. Let's get this Atco Balmoral back up and running. Okay, so we're ready to rock and roll. Excuse me. Remove the air filter screw and remove the air filter itself. Air filters would be quite good, to be fair. Doesn't look too bad at all. We're on a 10mm. Oh, let me put some gloves on, because people keep saying I should be wearing gloves. So I am trying my best to continue to wear gloves all the time until my brain can't tolerate them. I'm going to have to take them off. I'll grab a 10mm socket, which I should have available. There it is. And we're then going to remove the two 10mm nuts. One there. One there. Remove a little tiny metal cover which goes on that way, like so. I'll grab a little tiny tub just to put all my bits and my bobs in. I don't lose no bits. I'm going to remove the airbox cover and then just twist it off of the pipe, off of this inlet manifold crankcase breather pipe. Put it down to one side. I'm going to turn my fuel off. Now, he did say that this was particularly sticky as well, so I might have to adjust that. There's a little tiny screw at the back here. I might just be able to just adjust that slightly, just so we can move that a bit more freely. He said it's really, really stiff. He wasn't lying either. Cool. My God, I can't even move that. I think I have to take the whole fuel tap off of this one. I can't actually turn that fuel off. He did say it was very sticky, so I need to look into meat and taters of that as to why that's sticking. Let's just grab a set of fuel clamps for now, just to stand that flow off. On a pair of needle nose or long nose pliers to remove, there's a little tiny fuel clamp at the back here which just holds that inlet fuel pipe on. I'm just going to bring that down out the way and give that fuel pipe just a little gentle twist as we're pulling it off, just so we can then take it off the carburetor. There it comes. There you go. Lovely. Let's just test for fuel anyway. Make sure we have got some fuel coming down. Yeah, we have got loads coming down. That's lovely. That's good. Bit of blue rag. Stop that fuel damaging the mower deck. Beautiful. Right, with the fuel pipe off, we can now remove the carburetor and just remove the linkages off of the top. There goes a governor arm, and then this spring that's associated with that. And just slowly retract the carburetor, and there's your carburetor there ready to be removed. There's a gasket on there. I want to try and remove the gasket and retain that. And then we'll push the lawnmower back, and then we'll get this carburetor looked at. Right, carburetor time. 12mm socket or spanner will just remove the nut bolt. Just crack that off. Just loosen it enough just so you can then retain it out. There it goes. And we're going to start to, oh, that's the first sign we've got to look in the carb. Bit of rust on the bottom there. I'm seeing some water evidence here. And there you go. Ethanol. More ethanol inside the carburetor, which is a problem with the E10. A bit of rust which is associated with that. That lovely ethanol goo. See it? There you go. That'd be why we have a carburetor issue, which is 99% of what I see nowadays of bad fuel. Fuel that's gone off. And, someone once told me in my comment section that E10 doesn't go off like I say. Despite the fact what Google says, you know, obviously I'm a liar. But ethanol starts to separate because of a moisture interaction with it after 30 days. It's past its best, which also means it's gone off. But someone did say that ethanol, that E10 doesn't actually go off. It does. Put a comment in the comment section if you think ethanol goes off or not. And one person wasn't rude, but he was just voicing his opinion, which he's allowed to do. But he told me I was actually incorrect. It doesn't actually go off, but it does. I'm going to remove this screw as well, just so I can flush out the draining port. There's a bit of rust just associated with it. Just going to take that screw out for later on. I'm going to come back and we're going to clean this bowl up in a touch. Just get rid of this rust segment just there. You got the rust in there because you've got water going in there. That's the reason why. I've got this pin to remove and the float. Now some people say there's a spring attached, and on this one there actually is a spring attached which hooks underneath this post arm just here, and it holds. It goes over the top, and what does it helps push the float down. It doesn't do that big a job. They're not a necessity. Some do have them, some don't have them. I want to now try and remove this float post from its place, because it's got to come out so I can clean it. Now these are not the best in coming out, I tell you that for nothing. I've had experiences before with these and they're absolute pigs, and this one is going to be absolutely no different at all. So what I suggest you do is get a very small tinking hammer and just try and gently punch that out. Okay, so this pin is not coming out. Okay, now the downside to that is I can't get underneath that needle and seat properly to clean inside there. Okay, but the biggest problem is if I try and force that out, you then make a crack on one of these two posts, and once you break these two posts, carburetor's finished and they're £170 a go. It's not worth the risk. If you can't get that pin out, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure that we are getting some cleaning solution down underneath the needle, and you'll see it squirt up through the needle in a minute. There you go, you see it inside, just there. Just run it through. 9 times out of 10 it'll clear itself away, but honestly, guys and girls, if you can't get that post out, leave it be. That's not where the problem is. The problem is in here. So I'm just going to rinse that all through. Next I want to get a little tiny flat-headed screwdriver, and there's a little tiny screw inside here which needs to be removed, which is a brass screw, and that does need to come out. Make sure you get a good fitting screwdriver so you can move that brass jet out. Yeah, mine's coming. Now this is the FJ100 carburetor, not the D. The D is different because it's got a an aluminium casting on this bowl. As you saw, this emulsion tube has just come straight out. Okay, we're going to clean inside there. Now there's nothing you can't access in this carburetor with the float on there apart from the needle and seat. There's a little tiny hole down here which where I'm attacking now. We've also got a slow idle circuit screw up on the top here as well. Let me just blow that off with my air compressor very quickly. Just here, a little tiny slow idle circuit screw. This is where the problem is, just here. We're going to remove that little tiny screw out, or jet. There it goes. So now we can now clean the slow idle circuit fully. Now this hole here, inside this carb, if you spray in there, it'll come out of here. Okay, which I should demonstrate now. Cover the hole up. If I can get the blinking straw to go on there, yeah. See it coming out the top there? Yeah. Now, if you cover that hole with your finger or thumb is just enough, and spray the exact same hole again, what will now happen, it'll come out via the front of the carburetor. Just going to check it is actually coming out of there. It's very hard to tell and see because you've got to cover at all angles whilst trying to show you a lot at the same time. Very hard to show this one. Let's get it on the jet first. There it is there. Try and bring it round. Yeah. It does though, trust me. It's really hard to try and show that on my camera. But there's a little tiny hole just up here where it also comes out from. But trust me, it is coming out of there, just saw it. So a good flush through with that. Yeah, going straight through the centre of the carb, I can see it. And there's one more here which comes up through the emulsion tube. Yeah, it's running nice. That's lovely. Down through the centre. And there's one hole again down inside here. You've got one here, okay, and there's another one just there, just there. A general clean. And that is the carburetor itself cleaned. Moving on to the emulsion tube is there's a couple of holes on here which need to be just poked and prodded with some gas tip file cleaners, but they look like they are running anyway, so there's no problem there. And then the main jet, the slow idle circuit here, you can't attack it from this side, you have to attack it from this side, and inside there is a really, really, really microscopic hole in there, and you have to use these, I use these micro thumb drills. I use the smallest one possible. Literally just put it in there and run it all the way down through, and you better see it poke out the other side through these holes here. Be really careful not to snap these drill bits. So there you go, all the way through, like that, all the way through, and then you can see that this actually will fit all the way down through the jet, and the main jet is down in there. Nice little poke, and then just run that through some WD-40, and you'll see it come out of this hole just here in a second. Yeah, that's running. Try and get through that hole there. Yeah, whoop, straighten the camera up, lovely. So that's a slow idle circuit now cleaned, and you've got the main one here, which I use gas tip file cleaners just to clean that one out. quick little squirt with some WD-40 or something. Where have you got? That's lovely. Oh, that's good. Right, that's a carby now cleaned. So let's make a quick clean up and we'll put it back together. Right, we're ready to reinstall the carburetor components. The emulsion tube goes in first. In it goes, sits down nice and flush, and then the little tiny main jet will just pop that in and then just manipulate it into its position. About there somewhere. We'll screw that down just so it's well seated. It's going to be about there. Just going to nick that up very, very gently. Doesn't have to be tight, as long as it's well seated. And then over on the slow idle circuit, we've got this one here, which we've just rimmed out with the needle nose pliers with the thumb drill bits. We're going to screw that one down. That's all the way in. And just well seat that one. That's that. Now I just want to clean with a wire brush the end of this bolt and just the remaining bit of that there. I'll get that done and I'll come back to you. Right, so I've just cleaned the bowl out and I have just found that this draining screw is actually blocked right where that rust was. It's not allowing any fluid through at all. So I'm just going to run the drill bit through. There it is there. Look. It was actually blocked. You can see the dirt and stuff on there and rust. Now we've got a bit of a hole in there. We should wash that all the way through now. There you go. Bit of rust in there. No point leaving it in there because it'll just come back and start the whole rusting process off again. So that's nice and clean. We can now put our bleeding screw or flooding screw back in. Well seat that. And then we want to get our carb ready for fitting. So that's the way it goes onto the machine. We want to bring our flooding screw around the opposite side to where the fuel inlet pipe is. Well seat that. Just get the little tiny 12mm bolt just started. And before we press that down, just get a little tiny movement, just so we know that that O-ring is well seated. And grab a 12mm spanner, which I don't have to hand. It'll probably be that one. And I'm just going to nick that down. Don't hang on these because they snap. And I'll say with £170 a new carb. And it's not something we want to be paying out for. Right, carburetor now done. Let's get it back onto the machine and then we can get on with the fuel pipe. Well, I do apologise, my lens was dirty. I didn't actually see it, but it looks like there's a bit of WD-40 on my lens at some point in that video. So I do apologise for that, but I didn't see it at the time. Just make sure my carb is not dirty before I just put it down. We're now going to fit the carb back onto the lawnmower engine. We're just going to loosely fit the governor arm and carb all together, put the rod on. It just sits in there, and then grab hold of that little tiny spring, bring that forward, sit into its place, and run that down into position. That's roughly where it needs to be. But we want to get on and look at this fuel pipe now, because the fuel pipe looks to be seized, and I need to take it apart so that I can actually get on with that. So I need to remove the bottom fuel tap catcher, which is down here. That collects all the fuel and ethanol from in there. I need a little set of pipe grips just to do that, because they can be a bit of a pickle. They shouldn't be done up very, very tight. They should be relatively loose, but sometimes they all just turn together. Oh, I might have to remove it as one, I'm thinking. So I'm going to get a pair of needle nose pliers, or stubby nose. I'm going to lift that clamp up out of the way, this little clamp here, and then get a screwdriver and just tease up this fuel pipe. You might be able to see a lot whilst I'm doing this. I'm going damage anything more than what it needs to be already. Give that a twist. The risk is always damaging the fuel line, so we can't get enough fuel pipe on there. Yeah, it's going to come up now. There it goes. Right, that's a fuel pipe now off. That's good. And then I can get a spanner onto here, which will allow me to remove this actual fuel pipe off of there. I might be able to just grab hold of that with a set of pipe wrenches, give it a little tiny twist, just so I can then remove that nut off of there. Let's move that fuel pipe out of the way. Fingers and thumbs, fingers and thumbs. Drop that down. And now I'm going to have a decent look at this fuel tap, because for some reason it's not moving inside here, and it needs to. So something's gummed up inside there. Let's get that looked at now. Okay, fuel tap time. Let's try and remove this this drain port first off of here. That's got to come off. So we can get inside there and have a good clean. Oh, there it goes. Did that move? I'm sure that moved. Yeah. There's no point in cleaning the carburetor if this lot's not clean too. A little bit of debris in there, not a lot, but look at the stuff in here. Look, little tiny bits of debris all in there. That's done a fantastic job. And now it's going to start to lubricate this up and take this apart. Just so, my tummy's rumbling, just so we can try and get this switch to work better than what it already is. There's a reason why that's not running. There's a little tiny screen here which we can remove as well. Just try and pop it out without damaging it. Oh, nearly had it. I guess. Remove a little screen, and again another little clean down inside there this time, and then down through there. Right turn now. God, no, I don't want to turn at all. Right, so there's this little tiny grub screw here which we can remove. We'll remove that. There you go, it's just popped out now. Under quite a bit of pressure that was. And then inside here is all the workings for this tap. There's a spring inside there. Don't want to lose that little spring. That just sits in the centre of that little tiny white bracket. I'll remove that little tiny white bracket out of it. So I want to see if that's why it's seized. Yeah. So our problem is actually in there. That's that actual bit there that's got to come out, so I can get in there. So it's not a problem here. It's a problem with that little tiny bracket in there. Cool, that's solid. Alright, let me try and retrieve this out. It's got to come out. I might be able to take it from this end and push it out this end. Maybe that'll be a thing, Mick. Let's just try and put something down in there. Just to try and free that up. Right, so what I've had to do, I tried to attack it from the back, but it wouldn't work. So I got a big screwdriver and was able just to put enough pressure on there so it now at least spins. Okay, it's not threaded, so it won't just screw in and screw up. But now it's actually moving. I'm hoping I can now get these that out. Right, so you can get it out. Pair of long nose pliers, and literally just it has to be quite a thin pair, and it goes right down the side of it, and you can just grab hold of it and just plop it out. Okay, now I was trying to attack it from the other side, from here, and that doesn't actually go all the way through. That comes through here and up into here. So all I'm suggesting is that you just clean that surface up. There's nothing in there that should stop that from doing its job, other than just the dirt that may be in there. So a quick little clean of all areas, and a blow off and what have you, and that should then clean that area up there. I might even, just for argument's sake, just try and clean it up with one of my little wire brushes, maybe. If that'll go in there, it might do. Yeah. That'll definitely get rid of all that stuff. These little wire brushes are brilliant for just such applications. Alright. That's a lot cleaner. Okay. Let's blow it off my air compressor. Right, so now that's fully removed, we can now push that back in and it's cleaned. We can then get our little tiny spring. So that just sits literally in the centre of that there. It'd be a bit of a genius to get it in first time. There you go. And you've got this bit here. Now this also we want cleaning, okay? Because that's where all the ethanol sits on there. So you can make sure that's nice and clean. And mine's not. Look how dirty mine is there. Look, loads of dirt in there. Give that a bit of a clean up. Oh, no, I see impact. Bit dirty Bertie in there. Give that O-ring a bit of a clean too. It's the little things, isn't it? All these little tiny jobs. These are the ones that take the time. It's never the bigger jobs. But you just say that fuel tap was really, really hard to turn. It really shouldn't be that hard. Alright, that's a bit better. Okay, let's pick this back up again then. Alright, where's my spring? My spring's there. Now, it can only go in one of two ways. You have to bear in mind that this is where your locating screw goes in to hold it. So it'll have to go in this way because your grub screw is going to mate up with this bit here. Okay, so we're going to push that down into there. That will then sit down. It'll find its locating place. Oh, Mr. Spring, behave yourself. And then just pop in once it finds its place. It's a bit of a fiddle. It's being a fiddle. First time. Right, let's try that again. It's got to go in there like that. About there. It goes all the way in like so. And then grab your screw. Your screw's then got to go. No, your screw will only hold that in. You don't have to screw it all the way in tight, okay? That little tiny screw, if I can find a little tiny screwdriver, that just holds that in place. That's all it does. So now, is that any better to being turned on or off? Yeah, look, that's moving now. Look. That's better. Yeah, spin all the way around. Let's just come out. That's it, in. all the way in. Now I'm just going to try and turn that round now. That's got it that time. Screw that in. Just so it bites down, just so it's got it. Because you don't want it to actually bind. Alright, fuel off, fuel on, fuel off, fuel on. And you can tell, because inside here's a little tiny hole, that is fuel on, and there's a hole in here. If I get a straw, let me show you. Bring that all the way out through there. There's a hole in there, dear Liza, which goes all the way through. Right, now when I turn the fuel off to there, now that won't go through, it's blocked. So that is now working as it should. Fuel on, fuel off, and it's not actually not binding anymore, which is nice. It's doing its job. That's lovely. Right, that's that bit done. We can now put the rest back on. Sorry how long that took, but it's always the smaller things that take the time. Always. Little tiny screen there. Little tiny washer over and goes on there. And we've got our fuel trap, which goes on there. It took me about 5.5 minutes just to do that. But I thought I'd want to show you guys, because if I don't show you, then no one learns, right? Could be a whole video just in itself. That's that done up. Let's put that back onto the mower. Okay, so now we're nearly ready. Put all this back together now. We're going to take the fuel tap, push that up and in, and there's a little nut that goes onto there. Now what you can do is you can just turn this back and then hold that nut still, and then you can then twist the tap on so it's nice and tight. So go that way with it, and then it just tightens itself up. Nearly there. Let's just go to about there. Tighten that up, and then turn that, and that's it. That's on the tight now. Fuel line to put onto the carb, and onto from the tank. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to drain all that fuel out of there, because there's no telling what type of fuel he's actually got. If there's crud in the fuel, in the carburetor, there's every possibility you've got crud in the tank. So it's important at this time to release all the fuel from the tank now, drain it out so we can take a sample to see what type of fuel he's actually got. Whether there's any water content in there or anything like that. So I'm going to drain all this fuel out, and I'll come back to you once I've done that. Okay, so that's pretty much all the fuel taken out of this mower now, and the fuel looks to be quite good. There's definitely no water content in there, but the water was in the bowl. So we now put that pipe back onto the carburetor. Onto the fuel tap. We can now put the pipe connector back onto that so it holds it. The fuel now will turn on and off and with ease, which is what one thing he was struggling with. I'm happy with that. We can now bring the fuel line from the tap up onto a tank, up onto a carb, and we can connect that up now. That's good. We can now push the carb back onto the engine, and we can now get the bits and bobs that we saved from earlier on. We want a gasket to go on first. This gaskets are mega important. We're going to put the air box on and connect up the pipe at the back. Then we're going to put a little tiny metal plate on, which goes on that way. And we then want to put on our two little tiny 10mm respective nuts, which will hold on the carburetor to the engine to start them off. I'm just going to whiz them up very, very gently. We don't have to go mad with those. because you'll just snap the studs and game over. So just run them down to begin with, and then all I do is give them a little tiny, what I call a chugger. Just to hold them in place. A bit of oil on that nut there, get rid of that. That's all in place as it should be. I'm going to put a new air filter. What's your air filter look like? Let's have a look. To be fair, it's not bad at all. The old air filter is okay. There's nothing wrong with the old air filter. So we're happy with that. We're going to put the air filter back in. There's nothing wrong with it. And we'll put the airbox back on. Screw that into place. And that should be our lawnmower done. So all I'm now going to do is put some new fuel in it. Put the side casing back on, so I just put the cartridge back in from the 6-blade cylinder. Put that side cover back on, and then I'll take it outside and we'll go for a fire up. So it's had fuel system completely drained, fuel tap done, and we're going to put new fuel in it. Although the old fuel actually wasn't too bad at all. It looks to be quite good, to be fair. There's no water content in there at all, so it looks to be quite good. And then we'll give it a run. And then hopefully it'll run as it should do, and also the cylinder should cut as well, because the cylinder wasn't cutting. So let me get it all fueled up, and I'll meet you outside in 2 seconds. Actually, my conscience got better of me. I just put in a new spark plug, and I'm going to put a new air filter in anyway, because it's been I can say it's service. I'll do an oil change anyway. I'll do it before I bring it outside. So I thought to myself, well, do you know what, Mick? We might as well. So brand new air filter going in. It gives me peace of mind too. I know where I am. I know where I am then. See. So I just had a new spark plug put in. That's already just gone in, and new air filter. I'm going to tip the machine up now. Do an oil change very, very quickly. All you got to do is just literally undo this little tiny yellow oil filler, undo that, and then tip the lawnmower back onto its bum, and once all the oil is drained out, you can then just fill it up to the maximum mark on here, which is halfway up the stick, and that'll be good to go. So I'm going to put some SAE 30 oil in here once I drain the old stuff out, and then that'll have a new oil change as well. Right, so that's the Atco Balmoral now on the lawn. As I said, I did change my mind. I put a new spark plug in, new air filter has gone in. I've just done the oil, which now looks lovely. It wasn't shockingly bad, but it did need doing. I just sprayed the whole thing with WD-40 just to try and protect it a bit from the elements. And also they do look absolutely spanking when you spray them in WD-40. It just protects the casings and what have you. That's all done. I've not tried to start it, because that would just be cheating. But it came in because it wouldn't run off of choke. It would cut out. It's had a full carburetor clean and fuel tap dismantle, and now the fuel does turn on and off as it should do. So the proof's in the pudding, Mick, and only in the pudding. Start it up time, turn it on, full choke. It should start first pull, because they normally do. Off choke. Let it warm up. And the cylinder's also been back lapped as well, which we adjusted it incorrectly. So as you see, that's off choke now. That's running lovely. Full throttle. Lovely. Onto idle. Lovely. Back to full throttle. Lovely. No hunting, no surging. Cylinder. Ooh. No cylinder. Oh, there you go. Bit delayed. Don't know what that was. It marks a little bit of adjustment on the cylinder maybe. Sounds good though. Oh, it's cutting lovely. Oh my god, it's cutting lush. As it should do. Well happy. I am pleased. I love these little Atco Balmorals and Allett Kensingtons. They're just a beautiful machine. Absolutely spot on all the time. If you look after them, these Kawasaki's, they just, oh man, they just run absolutely beautifully every single time. Not missing a beat. And that cylinder now is cutting beautiful. Cutting as it should do. All it wants is a little bit of a back lap rather than a regrind, because a regrind is last resort. You should be regrinding every year. If you can try and get around just with a back lap, that's even better. Yep, happy. I don't have to look at that anymore today. I know, we turn fuel tap off because I can. Lovely. That's now all up and running and doing exactly what it should do. So there you go, quick video for you there on how to do a full service effectively on a Kawasaki Allett Atco Balmoral. Pip, what are you doing? Pippi, what are you doing? You're sunbathing. Come on. So that's now had full service, carburetor clean, air filter, spark plug, all change, fuel tap clean, cylinder back lapped, and now runs exactly as it should do. So yeah, super. I might go and cut my lawn today. My neighbour's over here, Bob. He's just cut his lawn. He's 110 years old. Look, there's Bob. All right, Bob. You done your lawn? Have you got a beer on the go? Of course. Unbelievable. So, no, I'm good, mate. No, I'm good, mate. No, I'm good. Thank you very much. No drinking for me. So there you go. Nice little video there for you. And if you did enjoy it, or if it has helped you in any way, shape or form, and you want to show some appreciation, then check out my Amazon wishlist down below in the comment section. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button, whack the old bell, and set your notifications to the all preference. That way you'll be notified next time I upload another video. I look forward to you guys next time, Micks Mowers very, very soon. But until then, don't forget, much more importantly, take it easy.